Okay, I'm looking to resurface my brick-faced fireplace. See, it's full brick from floor to ceiling. The reason I'm doing this is mainly because if you notice, the hearth cracked and separated from the actual fireplace surround. And I think it's shoddy craftsmanship. This is the original fireplace, about 25 years old. I don't think they connected it to the back of the fireplace at all, and I think there's so much weight on the front of this that eventually it just gave way and collapsed a little bit and separated. I was looking to repurpose the top part of the front of it here and use these again, but you notice I did not chisel around this part of the front here, the hearth, and the back of it broke, but I'm going to see if I can still repurpose them. I do like those, and see how I can go from there. I'll lead you through the process. Not sure what material we're going to be using or how we're going to be doing this, but we'll do a lot of research and follow along with me and enjoy. Okay, the rest of the stones on the top of the hearth came out very nicely, so I still might try to repurpose those. I'll see how it goes. And I just used my my heavy-duty chisel, hammer, and a pry bar to loosen them up underneath and to loosen the joints in between so that they can just literally slide out, which is exactly what they did. So what I'll be doing now is I'll be breaking up this whole hearth. The brick, our brick face, I think there's a lot of stone or something in the middle of it to create all that weight, but we'll see as I get closer. I'm just going to use a small sledge to break that up. I'll put some tarp around it so that I don't ruin my carpet, but for now I'm going to leave the carpet in place as opposed to lifting it up and pulling it out. If I have some issues, I might have to then move the furniture and move the carpet away from the hearth in order to finish this job. So you can see I'm working on breaking up the mortar that was underneath the top stones on the hearth, and I'm just using chisel, hammer, crowbar, prying it up. You can see the wire mesh is underneath, and it is boxed out under there. I can see that there is plywood and it's boxed out behind. So I'll be taking this mortar off and then breaking the brick pieces on the front off, and then going from there. I did put a piece of wood up in front of my glass to help protect it in case any pieces of the mortar fly back towards it. So I have all of the mesh and mortar and brick face off of the hearth, and I'm going to work. Actually, what I have to do is I have to replace this, the plywood underneath, because when I dipped forward, the plywood's now kicking up in my rug. So I'll be doing that and then coming back to refinishing the fireplace and making more decisions about what we're doing. I forgot that before I replace that floor board that I need to replace, I needed to remove the hearth. So I did remove the plywood and the 2x10s that framed the hearth out. And now I'm at this stage of the fireplace remodel. Okay, so I have all of the brick and the mantle off. And again, I used a pry bar and a hammer and took all of the drywall off along with the brick facing and the wire mesh that was behind it. It was a pain, but I got a lot of it off in large chunks. So with a little help, I was able to get that all off. My next thing is to clean up the fireplace. I'm going to paint the fireplace front, put a nice coat of black on it, and then drywall. And then from there I will be tiling and putting a new mantle on. Okay, so after ripping off the brick face, I did replace some of the insulation on the inside of the fireplace and some on the outside. And what I've done here is use 7/16 Wonderboard for the front of the fireplace and on the sides. And then on the top I'm going to be using 7/16 drywall. I also painted the front of the fireplace using just the black high heat Rust-Oleum paint that you would use for barbecues. Okay, I apologize. I made a lot of progress since my last segment of the video. Again, apologize for that. But what I've done, as I mentioned, I was going to install the drywall up top, which I did. I put the drywall on. I put the mud on, sanded it down, put a coat of primer on it. Okay. And what I also did was I had installed the wires for my television behind using a unit I found at the Home Depot, which allowed for all the wires to come through. I have two outlets back there, so I have the television and my Chromecast are plugged in back there. All of my HDMI wires are back there, and I threaded them through the back of the wall there, through the fireplace to here, and this is where I'm going to have them connect to my units, which I'll eventually have on shelves on this side. Okay, so I have that all hooked up and ready to go, and I still have some work to do on the sides. I have to put my edging on this side and on the top. As you can see here, I haven't edged that out yet. I really needed to get this television back up and out of the way. After I get all of that done, the drywall, the edging, and all of that primed, I'm ready to go. Then I'm going to start putting the tile on the front here. After I install the mantle is going to go where it was before, right across the bottom here. Once I get that up, I have to sand and paint the mantle. I'm going to paint it white, and then I'll install the tile after that and get that all done. So I'm kind of working my way down from here. I think for me it was the best way to get this done. Okay, I'm not sure where I left off because I already downloaded my other video segments onto my computer for editing. But regardless, this is the stage I'm at right now. So I have the mantle installed, and this was the same mantle. I just sanded, primed, and painted it white. The top is all drywall. The television is installed with the cables all going through the back. Eventually there'll be shelves here which will mount my my AV equipment right in that area, including my cable box. And the bottom is the Wonderboard around the fireplace insert. And you can see that I was waiting because I was waiting for my tile, and I actually got my slab of granite. It's black granite, 3/4 inch, and it sits, and the sides and the front were all beveled so that it kind of meets the carpet nicely. And I'm not even going to glue this in. I'm not putting anything underneath it. It sits nicely right on top of the Wonderboard. If it ever needs to be removed for repairs or anything like that, it'll be easy to slide this out. It won't have any traffic on it. There's no parts of it that buckle or when you walk or step on it. So I'm not going to glue the marble down. I'm going to leave it as a free standing piece, flat on the floor. My next steps are, I'm going to start installing the tile. And what I did was I have 3x10-inch gray tile, and it has a little bit of like a brick type of face to it. It's not flat, it's not glossy. I wanted something that was similar to brick, but a little bit more modern. I also have this is black granite edging that I will use on the corners on both sides, and I'm debating whether or not I'll put the edging underneath the mantle also, just to get a clean look and possibly even around the fireplace insert to get a clean look, but I'll see how that goes. I'm going to be using 1/8 inch spacers and thin set for my tile, and that'll be my next step, and I'll take some video periodically as I'm going through. Okay, so as you can see, I started tiling already. So what I did was I wasn't happy with how the edges looked with a bull-nosed piece of tile, so I went and I got the it's actually tile edging right here, and this is a black tile edging, and I put it all on the sides. I put it around the fireplace around also, as you can see, and I also put it underneath my mantle. So my tile is going to be nice, and it'll look nice. It'll be boxed in, plus it'll have a little bit of a black trim color to it as I finish it up. So I'm using a thin preset mixed thin set mortar, and you know, just laying it all out. So I got the pattern set. Okay, starting from the bottom, I measured the distance and split the two, and then did that above it, and I'm going to keep the same pattern going up the side to where I get to the top, and then the top will match the bottom pattern, so it should look pretty good. I'm going to do the front initially. I'm going to do the entire front, and then I'll do the sides on the other side of that trim. Okay, so I finished tiling around the fireplace around. I used 1/8 inch spacers, as I mentioned before, and I did use a pre-mixed mortar thin set for it. Probably should have went with the bag stuff, so we'll see how that holds up over time. So you can see I did use the tile edging here, which looks pretty good. So I haven't put the grout in yet. I put a thin coat of the mortar on the backer board, and then a coat on the back of the tile, and used the grooved end of the trowel to of course make a ridge through the tile back, and then applied it. Have the spacers there, and came out pretty good. I kept the same type of pattern around, as you can see. So I'll join up again when I... Okay, I started applying the grout. It's a charcoal color grout, and just got it from Home Depot, one of the top of the line grout that they have there. I tried that and white in small sections, and we like the dark charcoal better. So I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see the tile with the charcoal colored grout, and as I scroll down you'll see the section where I haven't done yet. So I've only did a small section, just kind of working on that a little bit. So I'll do the front, I'll do the sides, applying it of course with a rubber float, filling in the gaps, cleaning it off with a sponge, actually a couple of sponges, rinsing them as I go along. And so that'll be my next step, and we'll join up after I get most of the grout applied. And again, over here I did put you can see that I have my light switch in with my light switch cover, applied that, but I haven't done the grout on this side yet. And as I'm working through this, I will be applying or installing my wall plate for the wires here, and it's just a brush wall plate, single brush wall plate that I got from Home Depot again, and that'll be on here. And again, this will be painted. We're not sure what color we're going to paint this, but we will eventually paint the top of the wall and the entire living room, but this is our first step.